these expenses to be paid by the insurance company, despite the fact that they were fully and properly covered in one final effort to break the impasse. And having recently been reading and rereading Lewis Hyde's The Gift, I sent another note expressing what had been expressed before, including a certificate for a Sunday brunch for two at our Times Fast and Lewis restaurant. For the first time in a good while, nothing was heard from the neighbor. Finally, fully 6 months later, we received a brief and cordial note explaining that our neighbor and his wife had recently had their brunch, that but for our gift they could never have indulged themselves, and that the food had been excellent and plentiful. They thanked us all, and it was clear that all had finally been forgiven, and that peace had been restored along the northern boundaries.
谢谢，大家鼓励一下，谢谢。OK， 这个主要的内容就是，他有一个邻居啊，然后他养一只狗，然后这只狗去咬到邻居的这里，那个邻居呢就很不爽，就去告他，就想要告他，但是没有告，然后就是去医院。 还去 emergency， 你们知道在美国最不能去的地方是哪里？知道吗 ？emergency 为什么？非常的昂贵，非常昂贵，不能随便像台湾被狗咬就跑去 emergency， 这是不对的。然后对方就是非常就是很生气，然后他为了要这个。 表示抱歉，送他一个 coupon， 让他去吃大餐，吃到饱。然后对方也真的去吃了，然后很高兴，达到一个圆满的结束。所以这个 reciprocity 就是什么意思？ OK， 我们来看一些电影好了。第一个叫 Zero Sum Game， 所谓的 Zero Sum Game 就是零和游戏。大家常听到，对不对？什么是零和游戏 ？Zero Sum Game describes a situation in which the participant's gain or loss is exactly balanced by the losses or the gains of the other participant. 也就是说，某一方的赢就是对方输，某一方输就是对方赢，就是不是你赢就是我赢 ，OK？If the total gains of the parties are added up and the total losses are subtracted, they will sum to zero. 也就是我们两方的总和。 加掉你输的跟我输的总和变成多少？零 ，OK。Zero sum can be thought of more generally as constant sum, 常数 where the benefits and losses all bear sum to the same value of money is zero or constant sum. Because taking larger piece reduces the amount of cake available for the others， 就好像在分配一个饼一样，一个派一样。你拿到1块之后，是不是对方能够拿的就会少那1块？这个就是分饼的这个比喻啊。In contrast, non-zero sums describe a situation in which the interacting parties aggregate gains and losses is either less than or more than zero. 那整合性的也就是非零和游戏、非零和谈判的结果呢？你所得到的跟我所得到的总和，有可能是比原来的总和还要多。 那这边我们来看一个影片啊，它是有关于0上的广告。
The relationship between government and you is simple. It's a zero-sum game.
他认为这个政府跟人民之间的关系是什么样的关系？是零和的关系。
The more money government has, the less money you have.
政府钱越多，你的钱就会越少，相对的。
The more power government has, the less freedom you have.
那政府的权力越大，你的权力就相对会变得越小。
Government should have less money and less power. It makes it easier for all of us to prosper. Law.
因此，就希望希望这个立法人员能够帮我们忙。
Makers, stop making laws telling us what to do.
立法人员，这个立法委员，他们讲的是美国的参议院、众议院不要去这个制定一些法律，叫我们去做什么事情，叫我们要怎么做，怎么做，怎么做。
Start making laws telling government what it can't do.
而应该制定一些法律，告诉我们政府能够为我们做什么事情。
If you agree with me, you're a conservative. Now vote that way.
OK， 这个就是一个广告。好 ，zero sum game 没有问题嘛，对不对？某方、甲方都得到的越多，乙方得到就越少。那第二个是 non-zero sum。我们今天讲这么多，主要就是要建立你们的知识，你们的 background knowledge， 还有你们的英文的 vocabulary， 来看一些影片。那接下来我们要看是 non-zero sum。Zero sum 就是非零和游戏，非零和谈判。Describe a situation in which the interacting parties aggregate gains and losses is either less or more than zero。两方面所得到的共同的这个结果，所得到的最后的东西呢，要不然就是比零大，要不然比零小。那我们来看一下克林顿。
Now, last year I read a book that described the way the world works.
去年他看了一本书，描述这个世界是怎么样的世界。
In ways better than I can, but I completely agree with it.
我同意，所以。
And so, since I read something I completely agreed with, I immediately concluded the author was a genius.
所以我觉得这个家伙是一个天才，他竟然能够讲出我想不到的事情。
You've all had that experience. The title of this book is Non-Zero. The author is Robert Wright. And
这本书的内容的 title 是 Non-Zero， 就是非零和游戏。
if you haven't read it, I urge you to get it and read it. Stripped down to its essentials, Wright's argument essentially is this. From the dawn of human association to the present day, the interactions of people within and among societies have grown steadily more and more complex.
他说这个谈判的这个议题会越来越复杂
，making people more and more interdependent.
让人们互相依赖。
Interdependence requires people to look for, in the words of game theory, from which the book gets its title, non-zero-sum solutions.
因此呢，我们必须要试图去解决问题，用什么方式？用非零和的方式。
Now, in game theory, a zero-sum game is like a presidential election or the NBA finals.
那零和游戏就好像这个总统选举，不是你上就是我上，就好像 NBA 的 final，NBA 的球赛，不是你赢就是我赢，对不对？
In order for one side to win, somebody else has to lose. A non-zero-sum game is a peace process.
但是那个非零的谈判是一个很和平的这个谈判过程。
In order for one side to win, the other side has to win.
你赢必须建立在我也赢的这个基础上。
Both have to win. I believe that the defining characteristic of the 21st century is global interdependence.
他认为20世纪整个全球必须是互相依赖的世纪。
We see it in economics, in information technology, in culture, in advances in the biological sciences.
在各方面都是如此。
In the shared security threats of AIDS and global warming and terrorism and weapons of mass destruction. In such a world, we must recognize that we have to look for zero-sum solutions. No.
在这种状况之下，我们必须要寻求什么非零和的解决方案。
Zero-sum solutions. We have to look for solutions where we can all win.
什么叫零和非零和的这个解决方案？就是我们每个人都赢。
And we have to be animated, I think, by some simple principles. When I say this, some of you may still think I am naive. But I can honestly say I walked out of the White House on the last day more idealistic than I was the day I walked in. I believe that because we live in an independent world, we must accept the fact that all people are created equal.
他认为说我们是生长在一个互相依赖的世界，所以每个人都是生而平等。
Entitled to a chance at a decent life. That no one has a monopoly on truth.
没有人能够垄断真理。
That we all do better when we help each other.
因此，我们必须要靠互相扶持、互相帮助。
Therefore, one person's dignity is not, by definition, another's humiliation.
因此，一个人的尊严不能靠践踏别人的尊严来获得。
One person's work of God, not by definition, another's heresy.
因此呢，一个人他相信上帝，不能说对方是异端邪教。
Even zero-sum solutions like elections have to be conducted in a way that the overall process is bounded by rules and restraints.
那就算是在选举的时候，也要确定说，整个过程是要根据 rule。我们刚才讲到一个字叫什么 norm center， 有没有？要用规则，要去遵守规则。
And shared decision making so that everybody feels that the system itself is good for everyone.
这样的话，整个选举的过程对大家都有好处。
In other words, there has to be a way to find the truth we can all share. To let go of old hurts and hatreds, to imagine a future different from.
因此，我们要避免去争恨
the past. That was the belief system that drove our efforts to make peace in the Balkans, in the Middle East, in Northern Ireland.
这个包括世界的一些容易产生冲突跟争端的一些地点。
To promote peace and stability on the Korean Peninsula and end the nuclear and missile programs of North Korea.
促进和平，同时避免核武战争在这个北韩的主导之下发生。
To solve the conflicts between Eritrea and Ethiopia, the tribal conflicts in Burundi.
利用这个非零和的方式的解决方案去解决一些纷争。
To heal the wounds of Rwanda. To deal with the border disputes between Peru and Ecuador.
去解决一些边界的争端的问题。
The terrible conflict between India and Pakistan over Kashmir.
印巴冲突。
The problems of East Timor and Indonesia.
还有东帝汶跟印尼的冲突。
The difficulty of preserving Colombia's old but fragile democracy in the face of narco traffickers and terrorists.